With wind speeds of up to 300 miles an hour and billion-dollar paths of destruction, tornadoes are some of the least understood phenomena in nature. For years, meteorologists and scientists have been trying to understand how and when tornadoes form. They hope to develop more accurate warning systems that will give people sufficient time to escape. That's why tornado expert Tim Samaras and his team travel straight into the action when everyone else runs away. They're searching for information that will help scientists better forecast tornadoes. To get the data they need, Samaras and his group travel around the US. With the help of high-tech tracking devices, they hope to get closer to a tornado than anyone has ever been.
We're getting hailed upon, a marble to golf ball-sized hail.
While the average storm chaser watches and takes pictures from 1 or more kilometers away, Samaras and his group head straight for the center of the storm. They want to get as close as they can to the part of the storm that produces the tornado, which is sometimes called the bear's cage.
My mission is to get right up close to it, get in its path, deploy various pressure probes. So, my adrenaline is flowing.
In order to deploy his equipment quickly, Samaras keeps 6 weather probes, each weighing 45 pounds, ready to go. They're packed with instruments that measure barometric pressure, wind speed and direction, temperature and humidity. Any measurements these probes get at the center of the tornado could help scientists better understand how tornadoes form and maintain their strength.
So a lot of times, because of what I'm doing, I don't get a chance to really look out and see that tornado, just appreciate its beauty.
For that reason, it's helpful for Samaras to have a photographer with him on a tornado chase. This time, it's National Geographic photographer Carsten Peter.
It was important to be in the field with the scientists and to be on the frontiers of science, yeah.
Peter wanted to be part of a mission that was attempting to discover new things. Apparently, he took that idea very seriously. He now wants to take pictures from inside a tornado, but this requires planning and preparation. First, National Geographic photo engineers design their own photographic probe and fill it with still cameras and video cameras.
They don't want to open the door while they're out there.
Then they check and recheck the probe to be sure it can survive one of these violent storms. At last, the photographic probe is ready, but deploying it is just one of the challenges Peter faces.
Yeah, for me as a photographer, the chasing is quite a big problem because we are sitting all the time in the car. It's very speedy. We have to catch up with the clouds and we have to zigzag around the clouds, and it's sometimes difficult to shoot or to get some time for shooting.
He then explains that the average speed of the car is between 60 and 80 miles an hour, which makes it difficult to get a good shot.
The hardest for me was to drive in situation when I passed the most unbelievable pictures. Yeah, lights and storm situations I never have seen before. I would have liked to photograph.
It was lightning, wow!
And you have to pass them because there was the likelihood that a tornado could form. And we have to be at the right time at the target.
If the team manages to set down a probe directly in a tornado's path, will it be able to record any internal information? Or will it be destroyed by the power of the storm? At this point, no one knows. But first, they must worry about other things, like is a tornado going to happen at all? In the spring, warm, humid air that is rushing up from the south sometimes collides with cooler, dry air pushing down from Canada. When this happens, fierce storms called supercells can be formed. When these supercells collide, conditions are ready for tornado formation. However, scientists still aren't certain exactly what aspects of these conditions cause a tornado to form. And although they generally form under the same conditions, tornadoes come in all shapes and sizes. Approximately 1,000 tornadoes occur every year in the US. Of these, the majority of them form in a part of the Central Plains known as Tornado Alley. This region, which is made up of about 6 states, has experienced some of the most powerful tornadoes in history. But the team still must be in the right place at the right time.
First, you got to have a storm. Then you got to have a good to excellent road network and being able to get there. If you can't get there, it's no use.
It's the impossible assignment. You are trying to do something which is, in a way, impossible.
Certainly, it's difficult at best. Maybe like 2 days before, you can kind of narrow it down to maybe a state like Kansas. And then maybe the day before, well, it looks like maybe north central Kansas. And so by mid to late afternoon, we'll have it down to a specific town or maybe within a 25-mile radius. We average maybe anywhere between 500 to 1,000 miles a day driving. That means I change my oil every 4 days.
The team first set out in early May towards Texas, where a promising set of conditions for a tornado existed. Over the next 6 weeks, they drove over 25,000 miles as they traveled across 8 states searching for the perfect location for a tornado. The trip was filled with long days and nights, and a lot of times when the group just sat around, waiting for something to happen.
We generally spend hours out in a field like this waiting for storms. Just, you know, the wind blowing, it's hot, and it's sticky and humid. And watching clouds go up, and there are days we're trying to watch storms. Sometimes they don't form. We'll be out there for hours. We'll watch the sun go down. No storms.
But during tornado season, things can change very rapidly. Suddenly, there's a report of a tornado nearby.
Have to work. It's great.
Samaras needs less than 10 seconds to place the probe, turn the switch on, make sure the probe is facing north, and then run quickly back to the car. He's ready, but unfortunately, the storm isn't. At the last minute, the tornado moves away, and Samaras and his team are frustrated once again. But it isn't always so frustrating. Sometimes everything comes together and the team is in the right place at the right time. At one point in the chase, Samaras takes the time to talk to reporter Lisa Ling. As he does so, he recalls a recent tornado in Manchester, South Dakota.
We just arrived in the area around 6 p.m. local time, and we heard of the tornado warning. And off to our west, probably about 15 miles, we can actually see what we call the developing wall cloud. And we knew that this storm was about to produce a tornado.
In Manchester, the storm chasers were lucky. They managed to position their probes just minutes before a huge tornado hit.
So, Tim, this was the actual probe that was
Yep, this is it.
used?
This is probe 3. You can actually tell this side of the probe was actually the one that was facing the tornado. And as you can see, there's lots of debris, pocks, where who knows what actually impacted the probe.
Everything else in the path of that tornado was destroyed, including houses, but somehow
right.
this remained intact
Yeah,
and functional.
That's right.
The probe that survived the Manchester tornado provided Samaras with some very surprising new data. The barometric pressure inside a tornado drops farther than anyone had ever realized. This may help explain how some tornadoes can maintain their strength. The storm also passed directly over Peter's camera probe. However, it only recorded images from the edge of a tornado, none from inside. Still, Peter is determined to try again.
The closer I come to that type of natural phenomena, the more you detect, the more you can discover, the bigger is the fascination.
You've chased maybe 100 or more tornadoes. Is it still as exciting as always?
Absolutely, because that's the beauty of it. Every day, you don't know what's going to happen. What kind of tornado are we going to see? What kind of conditions are going to exist? What's going to happen today? You may have had a frustrating chase the day before, but the new day dawns a new set of circumstances, another chance for some terrific storms.